Hi beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am reviewing the Avani Morphe palette, specifically the liner section in the palette. Don't be afraid to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down below, and let's get on into the video. Okay, so the tea on this is, so I did a review on the Morphe Avani collection. I'll link that up here. But I got a comment on my video asking me to focus a bit more on the review of the liners in this palette, so these bottom two rows. When I read it, I was like, you're right, like I did kind of barely touch over the liners, even though in my opinion, and I think in a lot of others' opinions, it's the coolest part about the palette. Okay, so I'm gonna try to use a few of the liners in this. That way you guys can kind of at least see how they apply. Last year when I was back at home and working still, I started a trend called recreating inside out makeup characters. So I've done Sadness and I've done Disgust, and Sadness is actually like my most popular makeup look I've ever done on my account, and I really like this one. So I wanted to continue that now that I'm back home and have all my products and stuff with me. So today we're gonna do Anger. I felt like the Avani palette was perfect for that, so I can use her reds and her oranges and stuff to get this like fire angry look. It's gonna be a perfect idea, especially with the flame lines and stuff, to try out the liner and do it that way. So we're doing a little 2-in-1 with this video, which is really fun and exciting because I've been thinking about that trend and really wanting to finish it. So I'm excited to get back in the groove and do that while being able to go back in time a little bit and review the Morphe Avani liners in the palette. I thought that would be a fun idea, and I know you guys like your reviews. It's been a minute since I've done a really creative look, so I am super excited to get back in the studio and get into that, and hopefully I can do more creative looks, especially because like my nights are starting to get more open. So normally my creative looks I'm filming from like 7 p.m. to like 2 a.m. But anyway, you guys know the deal. I'm gonna do this eye on camera for you guys and then go ahead and do this eye off camera, and I think I want to have like a little flame coming out of my mouth on this side too. Let's get into the creativity. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by priming my eye with the P. Louise base in Rumor 2. I have all my complexion done, so my eyebrows, foundation, concealer, blush, highlight, powder, that's all on, and I went ahead and set it with setting spray. So let's go ahead and get just straight on into this look. And I'm not gonna be afraid to extend it out a little bit, since we probably will have the wing of the liner extend. The liners in the palette are these two bottom rows, and I'm probably going to specifically use the orange and the red liner, so that way hopefully we can get a little color in here. Okay, so I have a little cap of water, so I can just go ahead and dip my brush into the cap of water and kind of use it to stencil it out. So I'm just using a little brush to stencil the flame out, so the outline of the flame, and I'm going into Gymnast Mems, which is that red liner shade, so I'm using a little water. And remember, this part, I'm not trying to get like a ton of color and crazy specific because I'm just trying to stencil it out. So I kind of stenciled out the shape that I want to go with. You can kind of see how easy it is to use the liners to outline that. So I'm going to mix Clown in the outer part of the eye, You Mad blending into the red, and then Anulele in the halo of the eye. And just to remind you, I'm going to be using some more focused brushes, so I'm going into Clown, which is that red shade, and I'm going to go right on the outside of the eye and really tap that in, and then again on the outer part of the eye. This red is very pigmented, and hopefully it doesn't stain my eyelids too bad. Next, I'm going to take the shade You Mad, which is that middle orangey red color, and blend that towards the center. I must say I am very impressed with how well these colors are blending out just with me tapping in. I forgot how much I loved this palette when I first reviewed it and tried it out, because I haven't done many color looks lately, and this is making me excited just based off of how well this is going right from the get-go. Okay, and then I'm gonna take another detailing brush and go in with Anulele, and I'm just gonna tap that smack into the center. That really literally blended like a dream. Like, that blended out so easily. Okay, and so now I'm gonna go focus more in the detailing and fitting it into the flame. So that's where You comes in, which is that oranger. And then let that dry down, and then go back in with that bright orange shade in Anulele. Next, I'm going to take my liner brush and go back into Gymnast-Mems, which is that red liner shade. I'm taking a little liner brush, a small shading brush, and going back into Clown and tapping that red right on top. And then I'm just going to keep using that shade Gymnast-Mems just to blend everything. So I just took some P. Louise and kind of started to clean up the edges. Honestly, I feel like the Gymnast-Mems red liner has more of a berry like pink undertone. So when you mix it with the water and apply it, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it kind of has more pinky undertones here, whereas Clown has a lot more red in it. So I'm kind of having to like mix it together because it's making a bit of a pinky shade. So I kind of want the outlines of the flame to be a bit darker. So I'm going to mix Pre and Gymnast-Mems, which is the red and the black, to create this like darker red shade. And what I'm doing is just kind of taking it on my hand and mixing it a little. Okay, so now that I've kind of got like the flame set up, I'm gonna start to make this eye really smoky and a lot darker. So I'm going to start to add some black to the look. This part you have to be very careful about because you don't want to overdo it or kind of change up the look too much. You just want to make it look a little bit more mysterious, a little bit darker, especially with the fire. You want it to have a little bit more of a heavier effect. So I'm going to go ahead and find like a little angled brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Hidden, which is that black shade. And when applying a shadow black, you want to go over a mirror. That way the fallout doesn't land on your face. And I'm just going to tightline right here, the shadow on my eyelash line. I'm taking the NYX liner in the shade Ruby and putting that on my waterline. Okay, now that my eye is watering, here, no. We're back in business. We're good. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to do my other eye off camera, add some finishing touches, and then I'll let you guys know my thoughts on the liners. Okay, I'm back and I did a little bit with my face. So I added the flame on the outside of my mouth, added some inner corner highlights, some lashes, and the other eye. You can see like all my little coloring mixtures on this back of my hand. Here's my thing with the liners. I think that they're a really cool idea and like a great touch, and they work well. Something to note is like you need to mix in like a lot of water and really mix it around for it to get that liner that you might like. So like more water than you normally would think to use. Like I use Suva Beauty a lot for my liners, and Morphe sells them in stores and they're great, but you need a lot more water in the palette liners than you would do with Suva Beauty. I would have liked this look to be a little bit more precise. I would have liked, honestly, I think the red liner to be a little bit darker than the red that was in the palette, but I felt like the red liner had more of a berry undertone to it, so it didn't come out like as red as I was hoping. So I feel like it kind of threw off the vibes a little bit. I really like how blendable the orange and the red were with each other. I thought that those three shades were perfect and a perfect fit. I used the black lip from the collection, which I really liked. I used some eye candy glitter in the corners just to kind of get that spark, you know, that little flame spark going. Yeah, I just would have liked the liners, I think, to be a little bit more precise. It was really hard to do with the two little flame dots that I was trying to do, but I felt like if I added too much water, it got too watery. But if I didn't add enough, it was too shadowy. So you have to be really precise on how much water you put with the liners to get it to do exactly what you want it to. I think that the shades in the palette though are really good shades for the liners, and they work well along with the other shadows in the palette, which I thought was really cool and I really like. I'm definitely excited to use some of the other shades, especially like some of the lighter and more neon shades. I'll have to do a look with those, and I'll tag it in the products so you guys can see when I do end up using them, because I used the red one, the orange one, and the black one today, and I liked them, and it's a great idea, and I think it's something that's definitely worth buying. And this is definitely an Artistry palette. I honestly kind of believe this is more of an Artistry palette than the James Charles one, just because of how unique this is, and you can do so many different things with this palette. My only thing is that you just have to be really cautious about how much water you put in it, and that you don't put too much water or too little water to have it react the way that you want it to react. But yeah, overall I think it's a great palette. Like the shadows are very blendable. I could do this look fairly easily. When I did the outline of the flame on this side, it was actually fairly easy to do. now that I knew kind of what shape I was wanting to do, and I kind of got a better grip on how much water I needed to use in order to get it to do that graphic liner look. I will say though, it is not as good as your Suva Beauty graphic liners. It's not as good as those graphic liners that are made to be graphic liners specifically, like the Suva Beauty Hydro liners. Like, those are top notch. And I felt like these were very much shadow liners, but that's exactly what they are. So it's definitely one of those situations where you can't go into it expecting it to react like a Suva Beauty Hydro liner. You're expecting it to react to an eyeshadow liner, if that makes any sense. So it's not going to be as precise as you want, but it will kind of help you on the go and when you have to do stuff. And it's definitely a bit easier to control if you have the right brushes. So overall, I really enjoyed it, and I think this is an insane palette, and I haven't seen anything like it before on the market, which I feel like is really hard to do nowadays because the beauty industry and the cosmetic industry is very, very saturated. So I think it's really cool that they came out with something super specific, and I hope this helped you guys kind of see a little bit more about the liners and what to expect from them within the palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't be afraid to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down below, and I will see you beauties in the next video. Bye!